Hey everybody, this is Calvin Waite. I trade crypto for a living. I'm not a registered or licensed financial advisor, planner, or broker, so nothing on this channel should be taken as a recommendation to buy or sell. I also trade all of these things, so I probably have a vested interest in there. But there's plenty of entertainment value and lots of education, so this will be awesome. For those of you who didn't know, my subscription channel is live. So look at the link in the description over at cryptoinfluencers.com and you can see how I make all of my trades and what I do and what I think about everything. This channel is for more hypothetical and looking at trends, and the other one is for actual trading, so you might be interested in that. Good afternoon, everybody. We are let's see, about 6 hours from the end of day, more like 5, I guess. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about where we're headed and what's going on in the trends. It's been a few days. I've been working on different things for the Pro channel, so I haven't done a free one for a couple of days, so sorry about that. Okay, so what you're looking at right here is we are looking at the minute chart. This is the 1 minute chart. Obviously, I don't trade off of the 1 minute chart, but I just wanted to point out how since yesterday, so last night, we were up in 20,000 land and we floated there for a bit. We had a little bit of a sell-off. This was down to 19.8, but climbed back up. We hovered around 20 most of the night. And now we see these crazy sell-offs. And this was not, this was near the announcement of the US unemployment claims and all of that. But what it really was the opening of the pre-market. So pre-market showed up and it was 1% low on the S&P. And so we had these wild swings until we were able to find parity with that loss that the S&P had. So this was kind of the frustration that I am kind of experiencing with following the S&P, because Bitcoin doing its own thing. We're just cruising, having a good old time. And the second information hits the broad market, we are really very sensitive to it. So market ended up opening obviously right here at 1330 UTC is when the market actually opens. But all this pre-market and all of the news that led up to that ended up opening us down here. But even so, with that, I'm gonna take this out to just barely. This is the U.S. Broad market time frame. And then I'm going to add in the S&P so we can see everything together. And you'll notice that the downs are met with downs, and the ups are met with ups, and they go in tandem throughout the day. They essentially follow each other. Downs are downs, ups are ups. And there's a slight variability here and there, but on the whole, we are mirroring the S&P intraday. So it feels like the only way we can get away from, that we can kind of do our own thing and live, and Bitcoin can do its own chart and sentiment and everything else, is if we wait for markets to close, because we're essentially going to follow this until market closes. But there are signs that you can see that by the time we've got a 50 and a 100 and a 200, it's about 16 o'clock, 1650 or so UTC time. So this is where these averages don't look right when there's a gap. So we kind of have to wait for 200 pieces of data before we can start reading these. But you'll notice that after we kind of get going, the 50s happens a little earlier. So the 50 right here and the 50 right here are pretty much in sync. And you can see how the Bitcoin market is higher than the 50 here. and we kind of struggled above it. Bitcoin lost the 50 here, traded below. We were both above for a second, and then a pretty big drop off until here. So Bitcoin had a further fall right here. But now for the rest of the day, Bitcoin is actually showing more strength than the S&P. You can see that the S&P is kind of trailing downwards, and we're staying pretty level. So I think that the kind of uninfluenced opinion on Bitcoin is slightly stronger than it is when the S&P is at play. So there's no way to separate these completely, but you can see that there is a major connection between the two. And I mean, we're both, the S&P is down 2.86 and Bitcoin is down 2.62. It's slightly stronger, but not that much stronger. So this is kind of an interesting thing. This hasn't really been an issue until this last year or so. It's really started trending closely, but especially the last month, it's been unbelievable. I mean, these are high frequency bots that are following these moves, move for move. They're absolutely very, very close. The only reason Bitcoin threw out a little bit is because of all this volume. So we had somebody that had a decent amount of volume that got scared out of a position. So big traders and whales, they're susceptible to the same FOMO and fear that the rest of the market is. But it's very interesting how we're almost emotionless up here, and then the broad market opens, and then there's so much more volatility. So strange how the S&P is creating volatility for Bitcoin, which it used to be in the past that Bitcoin was the most volatile and the S&P was the stable one, but now the tides have kind of flipped a little bit, which is really an interesting concept. Okay, so let's do a little bit more of a deep dive on Bitcoin now. So we have been watching how the Wyckoff has kind of come into play, because the one day that we really broke parity with the S&P was this strange green day, pulling Bitcoin up 5% when the S&P continued to fall. So there are some forces at play, and I think there's more strength in Bitcoin than there is in the S&P. They do follow each other, at least they do right now. So it's wise to be looking at both. But let's kind of revisit the shape of our chart. This move out here and another temporary exit of the red zone. So we had a temporary exit here and a temporary exit here, and now we're coming back again. The only thing we have going for us is that right now we're above the 20. So the 20 is an important trend line to stay above. So we touched it and are currently finding support on it, but we have 5 hours left. This is not looking great. I mean, we have rising support, so we have some positives here, but this long-term trend line from the top of this in April, these candles up here trending straight down through our most recent miss, has become resistance for us. And we are forming a descending triangle, which is not good. So as I've said in the past, if we get down into these lows again, 18,500, I'm going to start getting pretty nervous, because this is definitely a descending triangle. There's no way around it. But the way to save us is to cross this blue line. And crossing this blue line is going to be crossing the 50. So we pretty much need one final exit of the red zone. I'm hoping that we can get that. But you can see that when I turn off the my drawings, the 50 is going down at almost a perfect slope, and it is currently at a value of 20,020. So starting tomorrow, our our 50-day moving average is going to be below 20 for the first time ever. And so our price action is extremely close to our pivot point. A sustained move above the 50 will absolutely change everything. This will be a pivot point if we can get there. So today falling off is not helping. I don't think there's that much more, I don't think there are that many more announcements for the broad market for a while. So we might have a little chance to breathe, but there is a lot of pessimism out there in the broad markets. So I don't know how next week will work. So we're kind of playing this kind of by ear, but there's nothing in the structure that has said we've fallen out yet. So I am still watching it day by day, getting every candle tells a brand new story and gives us way more information. So we're kind of following this very closely. But the 50, today is the last day that this high point here is being factored into the average. And pretty soon, this one will be replaced with this close. And then the new average will only consider this one and the new data. So our 50 is going to start leveling off pretty quick. So we've already had our 100 level off. We're about to have our 50 level off at about 20,000. And with them both leveling off, it's really up to price action to climb above those levels, because we're not going to get much more help from these averages dropping down. We actually have to have the strength to climb above them, or else we won't get there. Just for your information, the 200-day moving average has been steadily falling, and it's been roughly about $80, $90 per day. Because remember, our 200-day moving average is still taking into consideration these tops right here. And these numbers are 40,000. So the 40,000 that we're averaging in all the way up to 47, 48, these here, they're all being factored into the average, and they will for another, let's see, we'll start seeing the 200 will stop falling so quickly in about 45 days. So the 200 is on a steady, slow move down, and it's pretty low. I mean, we're down to 27,500 for the 200. So worst case scenario, the full 45 days goes by. We need another month or two. After 2 to 3 months, 3 months for sure, our 200 is going to be down here. So let me tell you how easy it will be to have a golden cross when our 200 is down into the 22,000 range. We have about, what is this? It will happen very quickly at about 90 days from now. So yeah, we've got 3 months till the 200 drops down really low. Now, historically, we go find the 200. We don't usually consolidate for so long that our 200 comes all the way down to the other ranges. Usually the 50 and the 100 will consolidate and level off first, and then price action will climb above, and then we will go and seek out the 200. It has happened every single time before. So this is where the 50 leveled off, and once the 100 dropped down and started leveling off and price action was above, we went out and found the 200. So this is the 2019 experience. And then the 2015, let me get all the way back here. So this one was way more volatile, so we had a kind of a bounce here. But once we had our 50 and 100 kind of level off, so that was this period here, our price action, when it finally got above, went out and sought for the 200. So that's what that's what I would expect to have happen. We just simply need to start showing support above these averages. So that's kind of the only thing holding us back. If we can stay above the 20, it will go a long ways. But what that also means is that we need to be very careful of this trend line here. This trend line here is the one that we need to be staying above. And we're getting kind of close, like uncomfortably close to it. I'll put this trend line on this chart since I have more. This is the one I've been looking at since it's the KuCoin's chart. But yeah, this is the one that we are watching. In fact, there's an argument to be made that we have touched it just barely today. So I'll move it just a teeny bit so that everything is kind of in play. But yeah, so this is sort of our rising support. But man, this is a large down support. It's definitely 50-50 how this comes out. But if we break through the bottom of this, it's gonna be a little nerve-wracking. So we're not out of the woods quite yet, and it is due to the broad markets. This is definitely we've had a bear market year every 4 years, and this is the first time that Bitcoin's experienced a recession plus during the bear year. So we've kind of got a few variables that we're not used to seeing in our market at play. So we're gonna have to watch this little by little. It just depends on who's sold on Bitcoin and who isn't, because there's a lot of money on the sidelines and there are a lot of people that believe in Bitcoin. Just depends on if that money is going to show up and move the market at these critical points. So I am watching just like everybody else to see where we head, but we're definitely getting squeezed here. This will resolve in literally 3 or 4 days. So we're going to see one side of this break out, and I sadly the greater than 50% side would be the downside because we have some serious movement down from this upper declining resistance. So there's no way to sugarcoat it. That's what I'm seeing, but I will patiently wait for the resolution of this. Ethereum, on the other hand, is essentially staying above the 200 week, and it's kind of holding on with all of its might. A really unusual flat sideways channel though, so it's very there's not much information here. I mean, the longer we do this, the longer there's a case for a bear flag. So that's the only concern that I have with Ethereum, is that if we do this kind of indefinitely, let me copy and paste this. These are parallel. So this is a parallel channel, and it's sloping upwards, and sloping upward is not good. We'd rather slope downward than upward, because we need to, if we're starting to slope upward, we need to start showing serious strength and start our move. So the longer we do this, it's not as good. So we have to kind of be aware of that playing out as well. So we're watching all kinds of things, but there's just not a lot to point to quite yet. We're still waiting for some resolution to some of these things. So we're waiting patiently. Alts, strangely, have been fairly unaffected. I've been surprised. There's been a pretty decent mix today, a fair number of coins that are in the green. The biggest one is 1 inch, and I don't know if there's any reason for it, but this might be a nice place for 1 inch to finally start showing strength. The other one that, let's see if they're still in play. Yeah, so XRP is actually doing really well. We've broken out really well, and the 200-week moving average, we've now found it as support today. And if this closes anywhere up here, there's likely some pretty good upside there. So the ones that that the pro channel is really watching closely and trading Most of these are absolutely looking really nice, even though the majors are really showing a lot of weakness. So we're just going to keep doing our thing. Hopefully we can keep making money and get ourselves in a place where we can be ready for when the markets really do turn in our favor. But a lot of these that are showing this kind of a chart structure, they are looking, I mean, these can really pay off even in a bear market. I mean, all you need is the right chart structure, and that's exactly what we're waiting to see. But even the rest of these, I feel like there's a little bit of a slowdown in the descent. So we'll have to kind of, obviously where I'm trading 120 coins or whatever with the pro channel, I'm watching every single one of these, and we're going to take advantage of everything we can. So anyway, thought I should check in and see how everyone's doing and give you a quick update. Just a heads up, just because I thought it would be fun, I recorded a couple of songs on the piano, and I'm going to post those on the channel just because I wanted to put them somewhere. So they have nothing to do with trading, but I'm putting them on there anyway. And apart from that, we will catch in with everyone later. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for making it to the end of my video. Make sure you keep those trades small. Don't force a trade. Don't get impatient. And if you want to see how all this works, please come over and check me out on the subscription channel at cryptoinfluencers.com. Again, the link is in the description.